morning to one and all present today in this special session of the 9th edition of Startup Engage program. और इस स्टार्टअप एंगेज प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से हम लोग सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर जिन्होंने ग्रास रूट लेवल से काम चालू करके वर्ल्ड क्लास इनोवेशन, वर्ल्ड क्लास प्रोडक्ट बनाए हैं, उनकी कहानी हम इनोवेटर्स और स्टार्टअप्स के बीच में पहुंचाते हैं। आज हमारे बीच में प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी एंड चेयरपर्सन आए हैं अंजू शर्मा मैडम, चीफ मेंटर ऑफ आई होप डॉक्टर हिमांशु पंड्या, गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर श्री महेंद्र पटेल जी और श्री राजू भाई साहब, दोनों उपस्थित हैं। और आज हमारे साथ जो इनोवेटर्स और स्टार्टअप जिन्होंने सवाल पूछे थे, उनकी बेस्ट 5 सवाल भी हम इन एंटरप्रेन्योर के सामने रखेंगे, उनकी सलाह, उनके इनपुट्स को लेंगे। सो वी स्टार्ट दिस सेशन, आई विल रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर हिमांशु पंड्या to share his thoughts, also share about what are the work that iHub is doing and how innovators can take benefit of everything that we are trying to put together.
Good morning, नमस्कार, आप सबका स्वागत है स्टार्टअप एंगेज प्रोग्राम में। ये 9th सीरीज है जिसमें हम गुजरात से और पूरे देश भर से जो लोगों ने अपना अपना रुतबा दिखाया है, अपनी काबिलियत दिखाई है, ऐसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को हम लाते हैं, ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज को हम लाते हैं, हमारे युवाओं के प्रत्यक्ष जो उनसे सीखे, उनसे प्रेरणा ले, उनसे इंस्पायर होके अपनी जर्नी में आगे बढ़े। इसके लिए iHub ये एक नॉवल एक्टिविटी में जुड़ा हुआ है। हमारे लिए बड़े गर्व की बात है कि कल हमने ये स्टेट इनोवेशन हब, जिसको हम iHub कहते हैं, उनकी नई बिल्डिंग का भूमि पूजन किया। माननीय शिक्षा मंत्री जी और माननीय राज्य कक्षा शिक्षा मंत्री जी दोनों यहाँ उपस्थित थे। मैडम अंजू शर्मा जो कि iHub की चेयरपर्सन है, वो भी यहाँ मौजूद हुई। सबके साथ यहाँ पे हमने कल बहुत बड़ा उत्सव मना के एक नए युग का शिलान्यास किया। इस सब के लिए मैं iHub की टीम को बधाई देता हूँ। आज स्टार्टअप एंगेज में हमारे साथ 2 ऐसी इंडस्ट्री है जिससे दुनिया सीखती है। ज्यादातर हम जब भी इंडस्ट्री लगाने जाते हैं तो लोग हमको बोलते हैं कि हम बाहरी देशों से कुछ सीखे। आज हमारे साथ है श्री राजू भाई शाह जो कि हर्षा इंजीनियरिंग से है। इनकी टेक्नोलॉजी और इनका कमिटमेंट इतना प्रबल है कि जापान गवर्नमेंट इनको अवार्ड दिया हुआ है। और हमारे साथ दूसरे मेहमान है श्री महेंद्र भाई पटेल जो कि ममता ग्रुप ऑफ इंडस्ट्री है। इनकी टेक्नोलॉजी बड़ी जानने लायक है। मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि ग्रास रूट इनोवेशन से लेके उसको पब्लिक तक कैसे लिया जाए। अपना एजुकेशन पूरा फॉरेन में कंप्लीट करने के बाद यहाँ पे लोकल अपने कंट्रीमैन की क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए उन्होंने अपना कंपनी को डेवलप किया है। मैं आशा रखता हूँ ये दोनों कन्वर्सेशन आज हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए, हमारे युवाओं के लिए बड़े प्रेरक रहेंगे और इनसे जो सीखने को मिलेगा उससे वो अपनी कैरियर को आगे ले जा सकते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, इट्स वेरी इजी टू से दैट आई वांट टू एस्टैब्लिश एन एंटरप्राइज, बट व्हेन यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन सच आइडियाज you face so many difficulties. iHub is such a platform where you can come and solve your problems, where you can come and get mentorship for your problems, where you can come and get funds to get and to develop your prototype and ultimately the product. So it's a overall solution under the one umbrella. We have more than 17 flagship programs. Under that, we are guiding, promoting and encouraging the entrepreneurship ideas in the state of Gujarat. I think this is the unique opportunity for all of us to join the journey of excellence at iHub. And I congratulate once again the whole team, those who are constantly working tirelessly for the development of New India. So I think the contribution of iHub in future and each youth be empowered with the skill mentorship, funding and the guidance. Once again, I congratulate and welcome engineers Raju Bhai Shah and Mamta Group of Industries, Mr. Mahendra Patel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. मैं आज हमारे जो 2 इंडस्ट्री के वेटरन हैं और जो मेहमान हैं उनको इंट्रोड्यूस कर दूंगा। Mahindra Patel ji hain. Group of industries develop flexible film bag making the pouch making machinery to convert plastic film rolls into bags and pouches since 1990. They recognized as the #1 company in India in this field. They established flagship Mamta Machinery in 1983 with a vision to provide the best-in-class plastic processing and converting machinery to India and supply global market. He is also a postgraduate from Penfield University, and he returned in India in 1974 and established a couple of small engineering companies in Mumbai. Within 1 year return, he moved from Mumbai to Ahmedabad in 1977 and started his business empire here. We also have Raju Bhai Saha with us, who is the founder of Harsa Engineers Limited. He is the CMD of Harsa Engineers Limited. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Elite College, Morbi in 1970. He has been associated with the company since incorporation of the company and is currently responsible for finance and technology solutions. He has been awarded the Best Entrepreneur 2001 award by the Ahmedabad Management Association, Ahmedabad. Harsa Engineers Limited has received a TPM award from JIPM Japan for manufacturing excellence in 2016, which Dr. Himanshu Pandya was mentioning about. Currently, Mr. Saha is the CMD of CII Gujarat State Council. He is also serving as the managing trustee of Astha Trust for welfare of the mentally challenged and developing a residential complex of 200% at the cost of 25 crores. So he's a wonderful human being and wonderful entrepreneur and a wonderful philanthropist. So I will now request Mahendraji to share his story. What was the bug that took him from a young person coming from a university about creating a business and setting up an enterprise, and what you learned from your story?
Thank you, Mahantaji, Anuji. Thank you for calling me and thank you for thinking of me. My story is a little quite complicated and long, so I'll have to sort of give you the highlights. My father was a professional manager with a company called Grease Cotton at that time, and then he was hired by an English company called Windsor Engineering in India, when they set up the first manufacturing for plastic processing machines in 1964. And he was selected, and he is the man who actually founded that company on behalf of that English company and started it, etc., etc. Then when I came after my studies from England, my going to England itself is also a story by itself, that I was only 16-year-old when I left by ship in those days in 1965, because air was very expensive, and 21 days to reach to UK. And then I joined as a company apprentice in Windsor Engineering in UK. And I used to work from 8 to 5 in the factory, and then 6:30 to 10:30 college. Every day. That I did it for 7 years in order to get my higher national diploma. Then I got a local scholarship and I did my master's degree from Cranfield University. And my master's was in machine design, because I am always oriented towards that. Then when I came back, I saw that India in 1974, and I came back 75 and all that, India was actually undergoing a crisis at that time. Those who are there, they might be knowing. Because of the oil crisis, India was also badly affected. And we had shortage of foreign exchange, shortage of many things. But in that, there are a lot of opportunities. So I thought I need to now grab these opportunities, and I started. So I left Bombay, where I was working with Windsor India only as an apprentice, as a junior engineer, and I came to Ahmedabad to start my own company in collaboration. That was my first collaboration with an American company called Dow Oliver. It was a 51-49, 51 for them. And 49, in those days, a lot of you will be, we did not have this concept of iHub and incubators. So it was our village, that the village people actually all collected together, and they actually funded my first venture because I was the first village boy who wanted to start some business. So our Indian story is quite different than what people think, and the villages are very supportive of the children who wants to do something, and I am an example of it. So I started that. Then the long story short, I will come to. Then I had to let go. In my career, I am now 72-year-old. In my career, I have done about 20 companies. I have started 20 companies from scratch and built them, out of which about 4 or 5 have sort of been bought out or taken over or something. The rest are still working. They are still surviving. They are still working. I'm no longer involved. I'm no longer a participant or shareholder in that. But I'm very happy to see that this whole network is still there. And all these companies have been in engineering. I have always made equipments of varieties of kinds, because what happens that when you want to be an entrepreneur, what it means is that it's a journey where you have to work very hard. Entrepreneur is not for the people who want to make money quickly and enjoy life. That is not for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, you have to constantly work. Even today, because I have recently started 2 new companies, 2 new projects. So I'm still working full time, of course, from home most of the time. But entrepreneurship is all about your commitment. It has to be a commitment to what you want to do. It is not about the money is the result of entrepreneurship, your activity. Money is not the reason. That is not why we do this. We do something because we want to do. So when I started this plastic machinery, my father started that with this English company. At that time, there was 0 plastic machinery in India. It was all being imported, and there was a lot of import outgo, or we had to import the plastic goods. And now India actually manufactures and exports plastic machinery, almost to the extent of 2,000 crores. We have an association for All India Plastic Machinery Association is there. I'm currently the chairman of the association on a national basis. And a lot of entrepreneurs have started a lot of these things. The whole thing about being an entrepreneur is that you have to be able to identify an idea. Don't go by what somebody has done because he has succeeded, because he has done, I must do similar. Me too is not entrepreneurship. Me too is copying. Of course, people can make money out of copying also. As long as you can make better copy and improve upon it, it can be done like Japan did after the war. But it requires a different kind of an approach, different kind of commitment, and a different kind of ecosystem to do that. Otherwise, entrepreneur, you have to be able to identify some idea, some opportunity where you think there is a need. The most important part is to identify the real need, a need for which you think you have a solution. Then develop that solution. And if that solution doesn't work, be willing to give it up, be willing to change. Don't stick to it just because it is your idea, just because you have spent time and money on it. For my 20 projects that I have done, I have failed in at least half a dozen. And the number of products that we have developed, there are more products where we have failed also, and we have stopped making those. So I will not go through the whole history. But unless you have a willingness to accept that you are wrong or you could be wrong, you cannot succeed. So the whole idea is that with the failure, don't get discouraged. Identify the reason for the failure. Was it the product? Was it the market? Was it the organization? Was it your own approach to it? Was it your own, the commitment to it or not? All that counts to make the decision as to what is it that you want to do if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur. In my days, when we started in 70s and 80s, country was having license Raj. Most of you are too young to really know anything about license Raj. But in those days, just imagine that if I had to build a factory, I had to apply to the government for getting cement. as a quota. And we have to submit the plan, we have to submit all these architectural details, the calculation, and then go to the designated cement factories to get the cement quota. Likewise, also for the steel, we have to get a quota from the Steel Authority of India and go there to there. Maybe we are lucky to get it on that day, maybe we don't get it, maybe we get it after a week, and all that kind of stuff. Today, you think that you order and everything is delivered. In those days, nothing was easy or readily available. Everything had a process, a procedure, and lot of red tape. Anjuji, please excuse me, but that was the reality at that time, that the bureaucracy had such a stranglehold on everything because of the police license Raj policy. But still, we as entrepreneurs, and like me, many of us, like Raju Bhai and many others, we persevere. You have to persevere, you have to work hard, you have to do whatever it takes in order to get that done. And even in those times, in License Raj, I built at least a dozen factories. So you can still do it. The main thing, again, I'll come back. For example, recently now I have started a project for, you'll be surprised, seaweed farming. Now you will consider what is that. In today's world, now there is an opportunity that Gujarat Coast, because I have a small non-profit institute, which I had set it up in memory of my son. Some of you might be knowing, but I lost my son in an accident when he was 29-year-old. He had just joined me and then I lost him. So I had made an institute for the climate change studies. And we were the people in 2008, 2009, when this weather stations in Ahmedabad were set up, about 22 weather stations. Earlier, Ahmedabad had only 4. And then we made a study and we had the weather station set up in around Ahmedabad. That was through this institute called ICSIR, where we got funding from CSIR also. So that is also an entrepreneurship in a sense, but it was more for the service, that the study of the climate in order to advise the farmers when they should actually sow or plow, when they should use the pesticides, because what is now likely to happen because of the weather, certain pestilence happens because of the combination of humidity, temperature, and etc. So all these studies, what we were doing at that time, I had employed actually about 8 PhDs to do this. Now, why I'm telling you is that entrepreneurship is not only about making money. Entrepreneurship is also about making a difference. Now, this institute, we have transferred it to Kutch along with my partner, who is Ashwin Bhai Shroff of Excel Industries. And now we have got one more person joined from Pidilite. So we are now starting the seaweed farming because that is the biggest source, natural source of carbon capture. It is also the source for medicinal chemicals and elements, which is very, very useful. It has got a very wide. So we are actually developing a proper scientific way of farming in the sea as well as on the land, and teaching the farmers how to do it so that they have an additional source of income from the fallow land, which land cannot grow anything else. It can still do seaweeds. This is just a small, I don't want to market that, but for the youngsters who are listening to this, they must understand that entrepreneurship is not about making money. It is about making a difference. For example, I started a factory in USA. Mamta USA is a factory there. We started in 2004, my mistake, 2004. And since that, in a small way, and we actually design and develop the machine there with our independent team. We have about 6 patents, and we are making and selling machines in USA. As well as we are making machines here and selling it from here to USA, to Germany, to France, to all over Europe. We are one of the rare, as far as we know, we are one of the unique Indian company having the factories in developed countries and doing business regularly. It's a 100% owned subsidiary. So why did I do that? I did not do it just to make money, but it was an opportunity in order to learn, because that is a market when you want to do packaging. And this we actually learned, that this was vindicated in this pandemic, that we had actually a lot of orders for our packaging machines, even in the lockdown, because of food safety. Now people want packed food. And actually, just a stroke of luck or whatever, this year is going to be a record year for business. Whereas all other industries are suffering, Mamta is going to do a fantastic business, because the food safety has now shown the importance of proper packaging, usefulness of plastics, and we make the machinery for making the films, making the packing, everything in line. But the lot of the packaging ideas actually originate in America. Our American factory is actually, the job of American factory is not really to make machines and sell. It is more about learning the trends, designing the product for making those packaging and making the machine. And we introduce those packages and those machines here in India to do better packaging, to do packaging which has got more marketability, because American packaging is all about how to market the product also, where the package itself plays a very important role in marketing of any product, for example. That's why, remember, the saying is, medium is the message. There is a saying, medium is the message. The medium is that this is the package is your medium. In a product like IT product also, I also have an IT startup where we made, where we market, we develop ERP system way back in, we were the first company in 1986 to install a mini computer and develop our own ERP system in-house. We were the first company in Gujarat, and Wipro actually opened the office only for us to do this. So then I made a startup to market that ERP system, which is still there. And we now have this ERP. But there the packaging is also important. It is not simply that you are doing a process which is useful to other people, but how it is packaged in terms of how it is presented, what are the kind of screens that people see, how friendly it is to the user, etc., etc. So a lot of the youngsters today think of going for IT, IT startup, because they think it is very easy to code and do this. People forget that ultimately everybody needs some kind of a physical product to use it. You think of some physical product which has got some utility. For example, right now I'm working on, in terms of physical products, one is a solar powered refrigeration system. Without using electricity, without using compressor, without CFC. We have developed a thermally operated refrigeration system mainly for rural market, mainly for farmers, where we have got a container. It is there in our factory for last 2 years. It is under trials in the different weathers, and because we are collecting data also that in different weathers, how does it behave. We had one installation in Chennai where we worked with the Anna University for a year or so to collect the data. So you have to make that kind of a network also. It is very important to have a network to develop a product and to be entrepreneur. You cannot be entrepreneur in isolation. You need a network. You need the inputs and the support of people from various fields, from various disciplines. When you want to really make a physical product, there are so many possibilities required. For example, simple thing like a vacuum robot, which is a lot of people have heard about it, where it is available, the iRobot. Why can't an Indian company make a robot suitable for Indian conditions, where we have too much dust? We always need to do what we call mopping with the water, because it is, our climate is like that. Our way of life is like that, that we don't, most of the homes are not centrally air conditioned. They are all with open windows, open doors, fairly dense living, means more people per square foot over there. So you need to have a better cleaning. Now, why can't we think of a cleaning product? Why is I'm really surprised that no entrepreneurs actually come out with an idea which is suitable for Indian market. I would actually recommend and urge somebody to do this. I mean, it would be somebody say, why don't I do it? Well, I'm doing a lot of other things also. And for this kind of products, we are also launching a platform called, I just launched formulated and launched a platform called Gateway to India, where we are inviting the companies from around the world, because of my wide network, to come to India to take the advantage of the Indian market. They have products, they have ideas, but they don't know how to enter the Indian market. And what we offer them is that we offer them the expertise about the Indian market in terms of the legalities of setting up a company, getting the people to organize it, getting the prototype to be made, to be proven, set up a manufacturing, etc., and all that. And we are already working with 2-3 companies, and you'll be surprised that there is so much interest in this Gateway to India, because many companies are now approaching us because of my track record for JV. That is also we do. We will find the JV partners for them, suitable JV partners. This is in complement to whatever the government is doing. You see, why the people come to us compared to government is also offering this kind of assistance through Make in India program and all, where we are also registered and active. This is for the entrepreneurs to know that what the government does is basically an enabler. They are not going to really give you the detailed guidance because they don't have that expertise. We don't expect that. That expertise comes from people like me who have got the actual hands-on experience of navigating through Indian system and setting up the organization. And I got many such people with me, my different partners who have done different things in India, including, for example, we just tied up with a doctor, an Ayurvedic doctor who has now developed some Ayurvedic drugs. So that is also an entrepreneur. To me, that is the entrepreneurship all about. And I wish and I hope that in Gujarat, a lot of the youngsters who are listening to this will start thinking other than IT. IT is overcrowded. IT is it has got an image and a hubris that, but if you really look at the survey, for every 1,000 IT projects have been, the ratio is 1 to 10,000, the success ratio. So you are actually going to work uphill. Better that you look at some physical products also, which are actually driven by IT. For example, all our machines are fully automated. They can be, we now do remote diagnostic, we do remote installation, we do remote training of the people. This is all through IT. And all the machines are also programmed by us only, directly, knowing we own the source code. We program the machines to do the various activities. So the IT is very much there as a part of the machine design. So those youngsters, where they think, because see, IT has got I'm not against IT, as I said, I have my own IT company. But because there is a startup cost is very low, the upfront cost, you don't need much investment in IT. You only need time and some expertise. In physical things, you need to invest more. But now you have a platform like I have, where they will actually fund you for a prototype, where they will fund you to come to people like us. We will also help you. We are also interested. And now I've got a platform where I will actually take a successful product and help you to develop it also. Not necessarily that we want to invest in it or we want to own it. We will maybe a small investment. We will do not more, because as I said, at my age now, I'm not doing it for money any longer. Before also I never did for money. It just happened to be the result of the activities. So my message is to all the youngsters please think of products suitable to India. Don't think of making a startup whereby with a hope that an American company or a foreign company will buy you out and give you crores of rupees. Okay, there will be few cases like um, like Zomato or Byju's and all those people, but then that can only be one. That can be maybe two, not many. For many, you have to think in terms of what is required for India, what Indians need. Even if you look at just your immediate environment, immediate society, India has got such a vast market that if I only think of Gujarat, it is 6-7 crore people. There's not a small market. Okay, there's so many things can be done. So my story is also very thing that I have been helped by a lot of people starting from my village, which I am always been thankful. Without that, because when we did not have capital because my father was a professional. People at that time in 1977, the village people chipped in and collected 8 lakhs, which is not a small amount in those days, of which we had only small amount.
You were crowdfunded.
Huh? Yeah, you were crowdfunded. These are the modern words. But a lot of the things, actually, our Indian society has been having many things, many activities. We have not labeled it. As I said, Americans are very, very clever in marketing everything. They package our Indian ideas and they sell you the haldi for, curcumin for medicinal value, where we know it for ages, and they want to try and patent it also. But anyway, that's a geopolitical issue. But I'm still convinced, and I'm very much in favor that if you work hard enough, if you have commitment to what you're doing, and if you have your goal in order to make a difference to the society, you will always succeed. Thank you very much. I will take any questions.
Thank you so much, sir. I will come back to you with questions. Meanwhile, I will now request Raju Bhai. Raju Bhai, sir, the CMD of Harsha Engineers, to join us to start the story. I will take the questions soon after Raju Bhai delivers his talk. So Raju Bhai started with a 10,000 rupees capital with one lathe machine. And now he is leading manufacturers of precision bearing cages in the world with a global market share of 5 to 6%. तो राजू भाई, ये पूरी कैसी हुई कहानी? 10,000 रुपया एक लेथ मशीन से चालू किए और आज ग्लोबली 6% मार्केट कैप्चर करते हैं. क्या रहा आपकी कहानी?
Actually, my journey started in 72. I passed my engineering in 1970. At that time, many Mahendra Bhai will be well aware that there was no job available to the engineers, and I was also a victim of that. I could not get the job. So for 6 months I was moving around. Then I got some small job, and that also I lost after 2 years. And at that time I was getting a salary of around 400 rupees. So again, to go for job and work, decided let's start our own. And that way I started. My friends showed me some few items. Can you make it? So it was a turn item. So I said, okay, we'll make it. How, what? We're not knowing anything. But there's a courage, something new to be done. And that way we started. But the good thing for us was that this company was started by me and my partner, Harish Rangala. We both were studying together in engineering college, 1965 to 70. And at that time, we decided that we will work together. How, what, we were not knowing it, but ultimately we started. But initially, he was serving in Tata Chemicals. He joined us in around 1975. When it was possible to sustain for 2 people, he joined us. Until that, he was serving there. So our journey started with some small work. Initially, there was a Kirna scooter project, government of Gujarat. There we were supplying some parts, and that way we started. In 74, we got opportunity from one of our friend. He was making bearings in Saurashtra region, and he came with one cage. Can you make this cage? I don't know how to make it, nothing about it, but yes, we will make it. We worked for 2-3 months and we developed the first cage. At that time, that cage was imported, and the real cost of that cage was hardly 15 rupees. and was imported at 75 rupees. That was a shortage. So we developed that one, and that way we started. Up to 76, 77, we went very well. But what happened in Saurashtra region, most of the people are doing business in two numbers. They want 20%, 50%, 70% without bill, 10% billing. We thought if we will work like this, we cannot make our company professional and always will be dependent. So one fine moment we decided we don't want to do business. Please believe me, at that time we were having one customer who was 80% of our demand. We stopped it. And for 1.5 years, we struggled like anything. But we decided okay, now we will work for those companies who have a value of quality, who have a value of a product, and who respect the value system. And that way, 2 years we spent. But in 78, a metal box company was there in India who has started bearing plant in Kharagpur. They given the advertisement and we went there. We have shown our samples of cages. They said, oh, you are making cages? They said, yes. Can you make for us? Yes, sir. They said, okay, go ahead and make it. So they have given us, then ask, do you have money? They said, no, we don't have money. We will work only for labor job because we don't have money for the purchasing the raw material. They have given some advance. They have given some technical drawings of their collaboration company. That helped us, and within 3 months, we developed the complete item, which was a very complicated product. And it was really difficult to make it in our workshop, where we were having one milling machine, one grinding machine, and one lathe. But with that also, making a lot of jugaads, we manufactured it, we supplied the sample, and first sample went very well. So immediately that business started. We were happy. But again, unluck was waiting for us. That company was stopped after 2 years because it was not managed properly, so the company stopped. And in 82, Tata Steel, they purchased that company, which is known as Tata Bearing right now. And they have gone with the records of all the suppliers. And in that they found we were the only one who have honestly worked with them, because at that time they have sent us 500 ton material with us. And we have given the account of total 500 ton to new management. So they were very happy and they recommended that we will continue business with that, and that has gone very well. And that was the entry, our major change, where we have started growing faster. At that time, I think Mahendra will be well aware that there was a huge shortage of bearings, and there was a lot of duplication was happening. So all the bearing manufacturers were making cages themselves only because they were having the doubt that if this will be produced outside, duplication will start. Because in bearing, every other thing can be duplicated very fast. But cage duplication is a very difficult and time consuming. So that was the main. So they were not ready to give the order. So that then we started convincing them, and we told them that we will not supply any cage outside these prime companies. Rest assured, it took us 6 years to convince the people. But once clear, 70, 84, we have convinced everybody, and they started stopping that plant. All manufacturers were having their own plant for making cages. They stopped, and around 90, most, and the business has come to us. During that time, Tata Timken started one plant in Kharagpur, and our experience was, Tata was very happy with our experience. So they recommended that you don't put up the plant for cage, but buy from the Sarsa engineers, they are good. At that time, chairman of the company, Timken, came to our plant. He met us and he said, okay, we'll buy. Then we asked, what do you see? We are a very small company. We are very limited resources. But he said, okay, I see two things. Two young engineers honestly want to work. That is okay. And I'm very happy that you will be a good partner to me. And that way we started with the Timken. And then they took us internationally also. That way our export started. And that way that slowly, gradually. And once your level of acceptance has comes, automatically client started increasing. So initially we started with export Timken, then SKF, Kepler, everybody we started. And today we are the leading supplier to all the manufacturers globally. In this, then demand has gone up. Then, and during this time, when we started, we had nothing. One good ambition was that area. We should do best in our area. We should be number one. So when we were in a small factory, then we must be good, one of the best in our Wadhav area. Then we said we should be one of the best in cage manufacturing in India. And then we expanded our image, our imagination. We must be one of the best cage manufacturers globally. And today, we are two manufacturers in the world. And most important is the respect. We are getting very good respect from customers. Because they know they are the value-driven people. They will not misbehave anything. Because what happens, I remember one incident in 82, 83. One scrap dealer came from Delhi. He said, can you sell me your scrap? I said, no, we are not selling. Oh, no, he asked me, can you sell me cage? I said, no, we are not selling cage. Okay, you sell me your scrap. I said, no. Because the cage which is rejected by us will be very useful for him. So from the day first we decided that whatsoever cage is rejected, we have made an arrangement with one foundry. It will go to his foundry and he will melt it. So that level of confidence that we have created, that took us a lot of time. But up to 1993, we were able to convince, and then onwards, our continuous growth has started. Then we started one plant in China, because China is the biggest market. Around 50% of the Asian market is in China. So without our presence in China, we cannot survive. We cannot be number one or number two. So we started China plant. Then we got some opportunity. One plant which was in Romania was already on the loss making. We purchased it and we have started that unit also. So that way we have expanded our business, and that is going on. And today we are enjoying very good position in our industry due to our commitment to the customer, commitment to the quality, and commitment to the values. During this journey, a lot of learnings I have found. And I think which is the most important is the learning out of your journey. As Mahendra Bhai told, from the day first, our intention was that we are not working for profit. Profit is a side product, byproduct. We are working for some excellent product and services, and profit will come automatically. It's a byproduct and that will come. If you will go behind profit only, then many times you will compromise. So not to compromise, we have decided profit is not important. Sometimes happens that customer rejects some material. If we use some other method, we can get him convinced also. We have never done it. We got rejected, but we never compromise it. And due to that, our quality level has always gone up, 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 and up. Because we are never compromising with any customer. Because in customer also, there are people who have some ill will at a lower level. So if you start supporting them, then that will go up. So that way, that has helped us, and that has pressurized us to improve our quality continuously. Second thing, when we started our factory, we made one thing very clear to all our employees and everything. We are not working for, we are not a creator. We are a wealth creator. We all together, we are creating wealth for the nation. So during the time management problem, sometimes you may get upset also. At that time, don't stop the work. Come to us, we will find out the solution. And due to that, until today, we were never having any union problem with us. During the worst time of union problem in 84, 85 to 90, we were never having problem because people were trusting us. And the height has come in 2008 when there was a demand recession all of this sudden due to this American company. And at that time, our export was around 70% in America, and that has come down to zero. And for 3 months, we were not having any work. Our people came forward, management staff, workers, everybody came forward, and they have accepted a downgrade salary for us. Workers, okay, we overtime. Staff members said we 20% to overcome that crisis, and at the end of the year, we came out with a little bit profit, but without making any loss. So that type of trust level, what we have created, that has paid us a lot. Even today, this crisis also, our people came forward immediately. So let's do not increase salary this year, and let's cut management staff's salary. Workers say we will not do any overtime. So that is the trust level we have created that is paying us. And this trust level is not happening by just telling, but by happening, because we have, in our organization, there is no union, but all our managers, I say, you are the union leader. And whatsoever is the demand of the people at the bottom, either you convince them, and if you are not convincing, then come to us and tell us that this is to be done. And that's why due to that, there is a very good communication between our workers, staff, and management. And that helps us a lot in deciding a lot of other actions, and we can take a lot of faster decisions also. So if I take my journey, first phase was of a struggle, existence. Up to 1982, we are just fighting for the existence. Second phase, we started spreading our wings slightly. Third phase, we have become sustainable. And in the fourth phase, we have gone increasing our business and spread our business globally. Just from learning, I was analyzing why we were successful. What made us successful? If it is not only our intelligence or anything can make you success, playing a very big role in these things. The first thing is that we have formed a partnership. And 1965 we are together. Today also we are together. What happens? The advantage we got was that some bad moments comes. At that time, one person will be he will be upset, but other person will be in strength. So sometime I was losing my strength, my partner was in. Sometime he was losing strength, I was in strength. So due to that, any bad moment, we were able to overcome the crisis very well. And that has helped a lot. So today, a lot of people think organization can be run by one person, one top person only. I don't believe. Collective leadership is a must. If you create collective leadership, it will give a lot of wisdom. And whenever, because you are discussing openly, then you are finding a lot of new ideas. You may be expert, but sometimes the other person gives some small tips that give much better idea, that improves your quality and that things. So that is one of the first reasons for our success. And we have a very good distribution of work, and we were aware about the strength and weakness of each. So for my weakness, he was taking care. For his weakness, I was taking care. So always we were able to balance the whole thing. Second, quality. Quality, what I believe, quality is a culture. Quality is nothing but a culture. You have to create an appropriate culture which will deliver the quality. So very simple. If we start with, say you start your plant with a 5S facility, start thinking everything as a 5S, then immediately your thinking pattern will be developed. And quality is not coming from workers. Quality is coming from the management. If management is committed and clear, then and then that will happen. I will give you one example. We brought some Japanese technology in 90s, and we were making some small rivets, but that quality was not coming okay. So few lots will be okay, few lots not okay. At that time, initially we decided, okay, let's produce whatsoever good lots there, that we will use for this customer, then slightly that worse we will use for other customer, and let's continue. But after some time I found that 95% of the production was happening for the worst quality. At that time we took a decision, let's scrap all the material. At that time material worth around 10 lakhs rupees was there. I scrapped at a time and I said, I don't want any other quality than the right quality. And within the next 3 days, that has happened and our quality level has gone up. And until then, we were never having problem in that particular product. So the most important is the quality, and quality starts from the top management. It is not, many people believe that quality is produced by the workers. I will say quality is not produced by workers, quality is produced by the management. So my young friend, I always recommend you that from the day first, you start with the real processes. Establish the correct process. Say you start production and your rejection is 6%. So you can continue. But if you are a quality mind, you will immediately stop. No, why 6%? Let's do the analysis. And when you do the analysis, you will find a lot of bugs. If you remove that bugs, your rejection will go down. So quality is not costly. Quality is free. Most people believe that quality is costly. I say quality is always free. More and more you focus on quality, your cost will go down. Third was a focus on processes, because the production happens due to the processes. If your process is designed correctly, it will deliver the right result. So initial stage, you must focus totally on the process. Whatsoever you are manufacturing, whatsoever is a product, how to make, why to make, ask a lot of questions to it and make a system which will ensure that this thing. Second thing, many times we talk about we are using latest technology. I always talk to my customer, sir, I am not using latest technology. I am using economical technology. Because ultimate product, both things are required. If there is high product and if there is a low, high cost is there, nobody is going to buy. So we have a different processes for different volume. Say low volume, there is a process where the tooling cost is low, process cost is high. Medium, process cost is medium. High tooling cost is slightly higher. And high volume item, it is completely high cost tools, high cost process, but the volumes is there, so it becomes most economical. The ultimate aim of our oil should be to make the product most economical. Today's world, people have taken two things, okay, at least for ourselves, where we are basically we are a contract manufacturers, because we are supplying to bearing companies, so we are a contract manufacturers. So for contract manufacturers, the customer first is quality, cost, quality, service, and the cost. Daily services are good, then it is a cost. And recently, Chinese have entered in this cost meter has become very important. So from the day first, we have established our organization. It is the most cost-effective organization. In our organization, every 10th, all the department profit and loss is made separately. And for each division, the manager is responsible for his profit making. So there is a lot of accountability, there's a lot of awareness, and people do things, always think how to make it economical. Our second strength was our process. We have three types of processes. One is a plastic molding. Second is a press manufacturing, press tools. And third is a machining. So brass cages we are making, that is with machining. Polyamide cages we are making with the plastic. So for us, tool is a very important parameter. So we have invested very heavily in our tool room. I am proud that our tool room is one of the best in Gujarat, and we always insist to keep it as same. Same way we started with polyamide, we were facing a lot of problems. Then last year we invested a lot of money in our tool room, because when my tool room is correct, it produces good tools, my product is going to be so. So whenever you do the investment decision, it should be always decided how it will get advantage and what is the priority sector, because there are a lot of demands for resources, but we have a limited resources. So thinking twice and thrice, you have to decide where to employ.
Wonderful, sir.
Yeah. Second thing, if I skill is the most important thing. Until you change the skill, consistency of quality is not possible. And as I said, it is a culture. So we have to develop a right culture. And for developing right culture, continuous, જે આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ કે સ્વાધ્યાય કરવું, દરરોજ સ્વાધ્યાય કરો. Like that, we have to continuously upgrade it, continuously remind the people. And over this process, say we started a program for zero defect cases. Zero defect looks very good, easy word, but it's a very, very difficult. Since last 6 years we are struggling, yet we have not reached to zero. We have reached to the 8 ppm yet. So yet we have to find out 8 ppm solution. But for that, the most important thing is the culture. And to change the culture, what we did, we called our operator's wife in company. We trained them why cleanliness is a must. Somebody will ask what difference it makes in cleanliness. By cleanliness, how your product can improve. But cleanliness is a way of thinking. When you think in a small thing, it should be perfect, then you're thinking up to their houses. We were keeping competition, and our people were going there in their house and they were checking how they are doing. And we have seen a lot of people have changed. Even some operators whose behavior was not okay, when their wife came here and they told them, there was a lot of change. So skill development is a very important thing, and skill is not only physical skill, but at the same time soft skill also. So if you want to improve, you have to focus on both. As we have started increasing from production, our demand for automation has gone up, particularly when we decided to go for zero defect. What was happening, we were 100% checking all our product before dispatch, but it was a manually. And whatsoever manually person can do, he can make a mistake. So there was a 10 to 15% pieces were always escaped from his eye. And that was creating problem. So we just do the automation and remove the manpower from that. So it will be perfect. And today we established that. And out of our 45 lines, we have around 30 lines completely zero defect, which gives a zero defect result, and it is inspected not by the person, but by the camera system, so that gives the result perfectly. At the same time, we have focused on the infrastructure also. The most important is the IT, because the things are changing so fast, so if you do not have a proper IT infrastructure in your plant, then that will not match with others. Communication will be also difficult to customer. So we have established SAP in 2006. So back we have established SAP. Another important activity is HR activities. As I said, all my managers are union leader. We have a very good communication between us and our staff, and that helps us a lot.
Sir, in the interest of time, what we will do is we will take the questions offline because we have got a lot of questions and we need to finish the session also. So okay. What we do is, sir, it's a wonderful conversation. I got a lot of questions. We have around 30 to 38 questions I can see in the chat box. But हम क्या करेंगे, हम इन सवाल को आपके साथ जोड़ेंगे ऑफ द लाइन द कन्वर्सेशन, सो दैट आप डायरेक्टली उन इनोवेटर्स को और उन स्टार्टअप्स को मेंटर भी कर सकते हैं. I would like to request Anju Sharma Madam, Principal Secretary, Higher and Technical Education, who is still listening to both of your talks. I would like Madam to share her thoughts after listening to both of these entrepreneurs, so that could be of really use to our young innovators and entrepreneurs.
Good afternoon, everybody. आज स्टार्टअप एंगेज के 9th सेशन में हमारे साथ दो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स श्री महेंद्र भाई और श्री राजू भाई उपस्थित हैं, और उनकी हमने एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जर्नी और उनके अनुभव हमने सुने. एक मुझे बात बड़ी महेंद्र भाई की क्लिक करी कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज नॉट अबाउट मेकिंग मनी, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज अबाउट मेकिंग अ डिफरेंस। और यही सब जो एक भाव से हम लोग काम करते हैं कि खाली पैसा बनाना एक बहुत कोई इटसेल्फ में बड़ी चीज आज के जमाने में नहीं है। पैसा बनाने के बहुत तरीके हैं। पैसा किस तरीके से बनाया गया, द मोर इज दैट आपने कितना, what difference did you make at the end of your life? What difference did you make to the whole thing? What things you did differently and what different things you did? That's very important. दोनों ही एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हमारे राजू भाई और महेंद्र भाई बहुत ही सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं। iHub में हमारा प्रयत्न यह है कि iHub के माध्यम से हम स्टूडेंट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बनने के लिए हर एक फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल कराएं और उसमें कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग से लेकर उनके आइडियाज को उनको बढ़ावा देना, उनके आइडियाज रियलिटी में कन्वर्ट हो सके उसके लिए साधन उपलब्ध कराना, मेंटरशिप प्रोवाइड करना, रिसोर्सेज प्रोवाइड करना और उससे भी ज्यादा जो राइट माइंडेड लोग हैं उनके बीच में एक कनेक्ट एस्टैब्लिश करना, एक नेटवर्क एस्टैब्लिश करना, जिससे कि जिसके पास ज्ञान है, जिसके पास अनुभव है, जिसके पास जानकारी है, वो उन लोगों से कनेक्ट हो सके जिसको इन चीजों की जरूरत है। अल्टीमेटली इट्स ऑल अबाउट बिल्डिंग ब्रिजेस एंड द पर्पस ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशंस लाइक iHub is to set up these kind of bridges, is to facilitate, which we are trying to do. Through Startup Engage, we are trying to build this bridge between our young entrepreneurs and our established entrepreneurs. We want that our established entrepreneurs should help the young entrepreneurs by way of not only mentoring, technical support, by guiding them and be friend philosophers and guide to them. If they go wrong, they can tell them that yes, this is what has gone wrong and this could be the reason for this and this is how you can change it the next time. हमारे यहाँ गुजरात में एंजल फंडिंग का भी अभी बहुत विकास नहीं हुआ है। एंजल फंडिंग को भी विकसित करना और हमारे जो एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उनके लिए अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स का एक चैनल प्रोवाइड करना भी iHub का एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है, क्योंकि हर बिजनेसमैन जिसने खुद कुछ किया है वो चाहता है कि मैं दूसरों को कंट्रीब्यूट करूं और मैं इन्वेस्ट भी करूं, बिकॉज स्टार्टअप अच्छे रिटर्न्स देता है और अप टू 200% रिटर्न्स भी मिलते हैं। तो दैट वे इट इज अ वेरी वेरी इट मेक्स सेंस टू इन्वेस्ट इन स्टार्टअप्स। पर ये जो एंजल फंडिंग जिस टाइप की आपको बैंगलोर में, बॉम्बे में और बाहर कहीं देखने को मिलती है, उस टाइप की एंजल फंडिंग अभी गुजरात में डेवलप नहीं हुई है। तो इसीलिए हम लोग पूल ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स को साथ में लाना चाहते हैं, पूल ऑफ पूल ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को, एस्टैब्लिश एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को साथ में लाना चाहते हैं, जो हर तरीके का सपोर्ट हमारे स्टूडेंट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को दे सकें। आज आप दोनों हमारे स्टार्टअप एंगेज प्रोग्राम में, इस प्लेटफॉर्म में आप आए, अपना समय आपने हमको दिया, इसके लिए मैं आपकी आभारी हूँ। और आप लोग इसी तरीके से iHub से और हमारे स्टूडेंट एंटरप्रेन्योर से जुड़े रहेंगे, ये मैं कामना करती हूँ। इसी के साथ थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, Mahendra ji. Thank you, Raju bhai. Thank you, Himanshu sir.